bothered me anyway.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today is the last day of October. It is Halloween, which means it is time for me to bring you my monthly reading wrap-up. As you can see today, Jordan is not bringing you the monthly reading wrap-up, but Elsa from Frozen is instead. This is my Halloween costume. I figured why not do my wrap-up on Halloween in my Halloween costume. I'm really proud of it. I think I did a fantastic job turning into Elsa. What do you guys think? Let's go ahead and get into what I read this month. I read 4 books and I read 25% of another one. I had 2 4-star books and I had 2 5-star books. The first thing I finished this month was Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, The Sword of Summer, which is book 1 to Rick Riordan's brand new Norse mythology series. And I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I also did a complete review and discussion for this. I will link that down below in case you want to hear my in-depth thoughts and feelings for this book. So very briefly, my feelings are this. This book was fantastic. I could not love this. In this book, we have a brand new protagonist. Magnus, he is 16 years old. He is the son of a Norse god. This story was actually very unique. I didn't feel like it was a carbon copy of any of Rick's other series. I thought it had a very fresh, new spin to his classic kind of, not generic because that sounds negative. Rick Riordan has a traditional outline to his stories that almost all of his stories follow. Someone finds out that their parent is a god and then some shenanigans ensue and they have to save the world and they have to go recover something that's lost. It happens in most of his series. Although we had the same outline for this, I did not think it was a replica of his other series. I thought it had the blend of what was positive of all of his series. Magic, like the Kane Chronicles, humor, like Percy Jackson, older characters, like the Heroes of Olympus. I read this book so quickly, and this was actually what got me out of my reading slump, because if you remember, I was in quite a bad reading slump August through September. This book really helped get me out of that reading slump. It was quick, fast-paced, full of energy, so much humor, so much sass, and I am so excited to see how this series unfolds. The next book I read this month was The Unbecoming of Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. And I buddy read this with Trina from Between Chapters, and it was so much fun to read this book with her. She did such a good job at being there for me to discuss this book with. She read it a lot quicker, sooner than I did. But despite the fact that I started it after she had pretty much finished the book, she was still really great about talking through it with me. I thought it was kind of an exaggeration hearing from everybody that this book is confusing. It can't really be that confusing, can it? Yes it can. This book is incredibly hard to follow. Because Mara is suffering from mental illness, it makes things very hard to follow. You're not really sure if what's happening is actually happening. I mean, you just really don't know. Those threads that are laid in the beginning of the book with mental illness kind of get abandoned as the book progresses and it goes down like a paranormal route. So then you're even more confused because the initial storylines don't make sense anymore. Michelle never goes back and addresses those. So it took a turn by the end of the book that I just was not expecting and did not see coming. I feel like a lot of people would be very shocked by the ending to this book and very gripped to continue the series, which I definitely was. But since taking a moment to step back and think about it again, I'm not drawn so immensely to continue the series. I definitely want to, because I just was so confused by the end and so unsure of what was happening anymore that I didn't really know if I should care about the ending or if it was significant. Trina had a lot of the same feelings that I did. She does a very good job in her wrap-up explaining this book and explaining her problems with this book. I will link that video down below. With that being said, I still enjoyed it, but I still wish there was some more resolution at the end of this book. I'm so confused on what this is even, like what the series even is, like how to even classify this or describe it to somebody, because I'm not sure what's going on here. But I still enjoyed it, if that makes any sense whatsoever. The next book I read this month was The Martian by Weir, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I actually started this book at the beginning of the month. This was the first book I picked up. I read it alternating with the other 2 books I just showed you. This one took me a little bit longer to get through, not because it wasn't good. This book was incredible, but it's very dense. There's a lot of math, a lot of science. I really wanted to understand and grasp everything that was happening, so it took me a bit longer to read this. Even if you don't like math and science, this is a phenomenal story about a man who is stranded on Mars and needs to survive until the next mission is sent. It's incredibly just insightful, inspiring, and Mark is the best narrator I've ever read from. If Mark could be my narrator in life, I would just love that. Just amazing that despite all of the struggles that Mark goes through, he's so optimistic and he's so witty and just hysterical. And I do have a full review for this coming. I really enjoyed this one. It was so good. I also had to keep reminding myself that this was not a true story because it's so realistic. Nope, Jordan, it's completely fictional. There is no real man stranded on Mars. As of yet, this is not real. And after that one, I picked up Midwinter Blood by Marcus Sedgwick, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I wouldn't say this is necessarily spooky or creepy. It's definitely more heartfelt, so endearing. It's more about love, the beauty of love and relationships. It is told in 7 different narratives. The story is based around each one of the moon cycles. That was a really cool concept. One of those accounts was very creepy, but it was really the only one out of the 7 that chilled my bones a little bit. I did enjoy that one most, I think, though. First story starts in the distant future, and then the stories progressively go further and further back in time until a time so far in the past that they are unsure of what the time is. And the way that all the stories tied together was just incredible, because it's not what I thought was going to be the end result at all. This book was actually inspired by a painting called Midwinter Blood. It ties back to the painting in the very last storyline. The more I reflect on it and think about it, the more I really grow to appreciate this book. Something so different from anything that I've read. So these are all of the books that I read in the month of October. I think my favorite of the month might have been Magnus Chasing the Gods of Asgard. This was just something I really needed to get me out of that reading slump, so I definitely would have to say that this was my favorite read of the month. Tell me down below what was your favorite book that you read this month, and if you have read any of these books, let me know what your thoughts were in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I will talk to you very soon. Bye! We have workers here working on the house today. They're putting in new siding, and one of them can totally see me right now. If you can hear banging, lots of loud banging, yeah, that's them hammering siding to my house. And the processes. And if you read any of these books, we're in a new location today, just to let you know, because my dad is working from home today, which means I don't have access to my bookshelf because it's in his office, and he told me I'm not allowed in there. / I can't kick him out to use it. He said I could take it with me and film elsewhere. How am I supposed to carry the bookshelf out of here?